Welcome to an exclusive clip of Jalen and Jacoby on YouTube. Once a week, we make sure to give you, our YouTube audience, exclusive content that you can't get on the TV show or the podcast. And today we are focused on the Brooklyn Nets. While they did get a win against the Pelicans, they got some bad news. James Harden had a setback, and he is now out indefinitely. Hopes to be ready by the playoffs, but it's unclear at this point. He'll be reevaluated. Jalen, what does this mean big picture for the Brooklyn Nets?
So I'm not crazy. I understand the Nets have 3 of the top 12 players in the entire NBA. And one of those players happens to be iceberg slim shooting trades from the suburbs, a 7-footer named Kevin Durant, who has won 2 championships, has been a 2-time finals MVP. They have him. And usually when I got confused about some of the things that I saw with this extremely talented team, I was like, as long as KD healthy, they'll still win the East.
Mm-hmm.
And then the amount of injuries started to become substantial. So much so that they've only played together 7 times this year, which means there's 90 days approximately left in this entire season. They're going to have to put together a roster of chemistry that's going to play well together offensively and defensively, particularly in clutch situations. They're also going to have to figure out how to defend the best bigs in the East. Because when you're playing against Embiid, Giannis, and Bam, that's going to be an issue for a Nets team that's probably going to finish games with Jeff Green, who's been giving them really good minutes shooting the 3 and giving them toughness, but he's just not as big as those guys. He's just not as large as those 7-foot human beings that like to dunk a lot of basketballs for a living and hit game-winning shots like Bam does right there. So I'm just starting to see so much evidence that has now brought me to the conclusion this isn't the year for the Nets to win the East. This is not like, me trying to give a hot take. David Jacoby knows I've been saying this to him off wax for a month. And I was like, I'm going to just wait. I ain't going to say it yet. All of the evidence keeps pointing me in the direction of saying that for whatever reason, I need to give credit to the journey. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm not saying that the Nets aren't great. I'm not saying that they're not going to be great. I'm just saying the other teams are going to be in their way this year and going to knock them out of the playoffs.
Jalen, you make some really good points, and it does not encourage me in my faith in the Brooklyn Nets that once Kevin Durant comes back, he goes back on the sideline. That once James Harden tries to come back, that he goes back on the sideline. However, if these 3 are in uniform in a playoff series, there is no team in the East that's going to beat them. We've seen teams scheme against Giannis. We've seen teams scheme against Embiid, double teams. You talk about defending bigs. They've got Claxton, Jordan, Griffin, Green, Durant. They can throw so many different looks and fouls at these players in a playoff series. But one thing you cannot scheme against in a playoff series is the pure scoring talent of Harden, Durant, and Kyrie. And while they're not going to win the East this year, feels really good now, but let's just wait. Let's just wait and see if they don't get 4 or 5 games under their belt going into the playoffs and they start game 1 of the first round with a fully healthy team. Because you look at the Lakers being really cautious with AD and LeBron. You look at the Clippers being cautious with Kawhi. You look at this team being so cautious with their injuries because they know that these games don't matter as much as the games in May and June do. And that is why I still, at this day, have the Nets winning the East.
We'll see. I might look up in 4 to 6 weeks and the information changes. But what I see right now is exactly what you just said. And if I was going to place a bet, I think the smarter bet would be the field. So that's what I'm taking. That's all. It isn't denying their greatness in any way, shape, or form.
I will say they don't need to play together to build chemistry. They just need to not play to build health. If this team is healthy, they're coming out of the East. And we're going to revisit this because something tells me some things are going to change every single week. We have a YouTube exclusive clip every week, and we'll revisit this one down the road as we head into the playoffs. Make sure you tune in to Jalen and Jacoby every day on ESPN at 2 p.m. And, of course, subscribe, download, rate, and review the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Keep checking in on the ESPN channel. We'll be back with more exclusive clips on YouTube. Why is that, Jalen Rose?
We're not done. We're not done. We are not done.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.